These days, it can be hard to trust the media. What's true, what's fake, and who is behind the message? I'm a freelance journalist and videographer who has spent years studying the media. Now I'm taking a look at what local, regional, and national news stories mean to us here in North Central Washington. I'm Dominick Bonny, and this is Common Sense. Hello and welcome to Common Sense. I'm Dominick Bonny, and today we're taking a look at one tool that could help alleviate the housing crisis. That tool is the Community Land Trust model, which can help develop and preserve quality, affordable housing for generations. Later in the episode, I sit down with Thom Nees, Executive Director of Serve Wenatchee Valley, which did amazing work before COVID, but after the pandemic hit, they stepped up in big ways, and Thom and his team helped coordinate the community food bank at the Town Toyota Center, which put food on a lot of tables during a time where many folks in our community were facing unemployment or less employment and in bad shape economically. Their community food bank is still going strong and has since moved to serve Wenatchee Valley's new location on Orondo Avenue in Wenatchee, but I went in to talk to Thom about a new initiative he and Serve Wenatchee Valley are spearheading, and that is the Common Ground Community Housing Trust, which aims to increase the inventory of affordable homeownership in Chelan and Douglas counties. But first, let's learn what a community housing trust or community land trust is and what it does.
Community land trusts, or CLTs, are nonprofit organizations that acquire, own, and steward land permanently for the common good. The most common CLT land use is housing, but retail, office, and a variety of other uses are possible. CLTs give formal decision-making voice and power to local community residents in determining land uses. Here's how CLTs make home buying affordable for families in their communities. First, the CLT builds or buys homes using one-time public or private investment. Next, the CLT sells just the home to a low-income buyer who qualifies for a mortgage, and the CLT keeps the land, holding it in trust for future generations of home buyers. In return for being able to buy a home at a discounted price, the family agrees to pay it forward and sell to another low-income family at a price they can afford. The CLT manages the sales process, ensuring that each home-buying family builds some wealth from a predetermined, limited amount of the sales proceeds. In this way, the one-time public or private investment in CLT homes makes lasting affordability a reality and stabilizes communities. And CLTs benefit the larger community too, as they preserve and protect housing for long-term residents, helping to build stronger, safer, and higher quality, diverse neighborhoods, contributing to greater educational attainment, employment opportunities, and health outcomes. Visit groundedsolutions.org to learn more about CLTs today.
Now, most of us here in the Chelan and Douglas counties know what a land trust is because we know the Chelan-Douglas County Land Trust and what it does to preserve land purchased and then held in trust for stewardship, conservation, and recreation purposes. But this is different. This is an organization that will be dedicated to developing permanently affordable housing for generations to come. And this is something we desperately need right now since the median sales price of a home in the Wenatchee area skyrocketed up to $410,000 in March compared to $335,000 in March of 2020, a spike of 22% in just 12 months. A community housing trust isn't a magic bullet. It's not going to solve the problem all by itself, but it is a part of a comprehensive approach to making housing more affordable and more accessible to our fellow citizens. Stay tuned after the break for part one of my interview with Thom about the Common Ground Community Housing Trust.
Arctic Refrigeration and Heating has been providing heating and cooling services in our valley since 1984. Arctic offers a variety of refrigeration and heating services, proudly now selling Bryant Systems. Heating and air conditioning for your home or business. Commercial refrigeration service for your coolers, freezers, and prep tables. And now, full service on gas fireplaces for your home or business. Whatever it takes, Arctic Refrigeration and Heating, the temperature experts.
Highlander Grill and Golf Course is known as one of the finest wedding venues in the Wenatchee area. You do not have to be a member to come to Highlander. Highlander Golf Course offers a first-class backdrop for your wedding day. Our friendly professional staff will ensure your wedding and reception is picture perfect. from every moment leading up to the I do's to when the lights go down at the end of your reception. Hi, I'm Shalane, Site Coordinator for Highlander Grill. Give me a call to schedule your event today.
Come on, I'm a certified technician. I was trained to take good care of you.
9. I've only been to the dealer.
I've been coming here for years. These guys are great.
Look around. The BMW, the Jag, the Volvo, they're all waiting for regular service. Well, the BMW has a little computer issue, but that's nothing we can't handle. Come on in.
From regular maintenance to computer troubleshooting, trust the Global Car Care technicians with your import, diesel-powered, or domestic vehicle. Global Car Care. They speak your car's language.
Dankeschön.
Yes, we would all love to have a crystal ball to tell us precisely where the local economy and real estate market is headed in 2021 and in the near future. However, what we do have here at NCWLIFE Channel are local experts we connect with every week to give us the inside scoop on all you need to know about your home and our local real estate market. Join me each week while we find out what's happening in the greater Wenatchee Valley. I'm your host, Crystal Hughes, and you are watching At Home with NCWLIFE.
Hello and welcome back. Let's jump right into my interview with Serve Wenatchee Valley Executive Director Thom Nees about the Common Ground Community Housing Trust his organization is spearheading. Can you explain what a community housing trust is and what it does?
Sure. Community housing trust model has been around for a long time, and there's currently one fairly established up in Leavenworth, Share through Upper Valley Mend. There's a newer one in Chelan. And of course, Common Ground here is new, but essentially what a housing trust does is it's a development that is led by the community that provides home ownership opportunities for low to moderate income families, that they own the home, and yet the community land trust maintains ownership of the land. And so it's a community-led development of individually owned homes on community-owned land. And the benefit of the community land trust is we know we live in a community right now where the housing prices are skyrocketing. Matter of fact, Pacific Appraisal Snapshot just came out, and for the month of March, the median house price in this valley was $410,000. That's for the greater Wenatchee Valley. That is so far beyond what the common everyday worker, laborer, even at 100 or 120% of our local area median income can afford to get into, let alone someone at 80% or below that. And so it really is a way to be able to make home ownership attainable for the entirety of our community. And so it is not just a dream for the wealthy to be able to own a home. There are also folks here that dream of that, particularly in the market that we have. We've got a very high rental rate market that is oftentimes driven by our low vacancy rate. We've got a 1.8% currently vacancy rate in inventory in this community, which drives the prices up. And then the volatility of families that are living in those situations, they're living in a place where the house may sell and then they have to relocate, or the rent may go up and they have to relocate. And so what home ownership offers is the opportunity to stabilize a family and get a set. You can qualify for a 30-year mortgage on this place. You set your price, and you can work with some foundational assumptions then with your budgeting and working forward that gets rid of a lot of the chaos that our families are finding right now in this community as it relates to housing.
So you spoke a little bit about these types of trusts in other communities, and I think I'm going to share that video from the Methow one, because it's kind of a local or a semi-local example of one working. But this weekend, can you tell me a little bit about this event on Saturday in Leavenworth and what they're going to be doing with these, in Chelan, and what they're going to be doing with these condos and what the prices are for these condos downtown Chelan?
So they're Chelan Valley Housing Trust has been formed in the last couple of years. Again, when you live in a community like Leavenworth, like Chelan, where you've got this recreation, their median house price up in Chelan is higher than where we are here in the, in the Wenatchee Valley, and getting folks to be stabilized and provide housing opportunities there is an additional challenge to work and be able to live in the place that they work. And they are launching, or have launched and built, and are selling their initial 5 townhomes. They're in downtown Chelan, and there was 5 townhomes that were built, and those are being sold at $200,000 a piece. And so, and my understanding is they're all sold, but there is an open house on Saturday, April 17th. It's at about 10 o'clock in the morning, and there's going to be a ribbon cutting and an open house. It's a great opportunity to go up and, take a look, go to a beautiful area like Chelan, on a Saturday morning, and be a part of that and see the vision of what could be, of what we can do, what they have done, and then allow that vision to transcend that location into ours and say, what could we create here to provide the same attainable opportunities for families in our community?
Yeah. Yeah, and so you spoke a little bit to the need, how many families are renting and need to take that move into homeownership. What's the criteria, or what would the criteria be once this housing trust is established and has units to offer the public?
So I don't want to get too deep into the weeds with that, but a lot of that depends on the funding of a particular project. For instance, if you get funding from Commerce or from federal sources, then you are a little bit more restricted on the upper end of what that housing could provide. So maybe if you got particular funding from a source that says that you have to stick to 65% or lower of the area median income, then that sets the top income level, and that becomes a criteria, an eligibility criteria to move into that particular unit. And so a lot of that is eligibility based. We're going to create an eligibility process to go through that matches the mortgage lender's response, how they apply for mortgage lending. So, if there's a particular credit rating that the mortgage lender needs to see, then we're going to mirror that, because we don't want to make irresponsible referrals. We don't want to bring somebody in and qualify them through our process, send them to a lender to get a mortgage, because they are getting that this is a home ownership. This is not glorified rent, and so we don't want to send them to a lender to be able to step into this and find out they don't qualify. So we're going to mirror what it is that we're doing with the lender, but it also is dependent upon how it's funded. Up in the Methow, for instance, the Methow Valley Housing Trust, they are largely privately funded. They've been able to fund it privately, so they are able to have a much broader scope of the eligibility criteria. So you can be between 60 and 110% of the area median income to qualify. Chelan Valley Housing Trust, they have, at least up until now, been privately funded. And so there is a value to the community coming together, because it is a community investment. We are investing in this together, and the community land trust model really understands home or land ownership as in a different way. We view the improvement on top of the land as personally owned, but the land beneath it is owned in trust by the community at large. And so the eligibility criteria for that is going to be based on income levels, on some credit rating, and then depending on the house itself, there will be some other eligibility criteria that's there.
So walk me through how that would work with a traditional bank loan. You buy a house, you buy the parcel of property that it sits on, however big or small that lot is, and then when you want to sell your home, that whole thing is up as a listing for sale. And so what happens when you own the land and they own the house and they want to sell the house? what happens then?
So they have the freedom to sell the house when they would like to. When you enter into a community land trust home, you get a 99-year ground lease. And what that 99-year ground lease does is it gives you the opportunity to go to the traditional and conventional mortgage lenders that will loan you money on that because of that ground lease. But it is there's a resale restriction that is written into the ground lease, and there's multiple. We haven't nailed down exactly which formula we're going to use. There's several different formulas to determine the resale formula. There's fixed rate formulas, there's AMI, there's appraisal based. We haven't quite dialed that in quite yet, because what you want to do is you want to create balance between the homeowner and the value that they have in their home and the appreciation that they have, that they are building wealth, and you want to be able to provide that. At the same time, it needs to be permanently affordable for the next family to buy. And so the resale formula, you're going to balance those scales a little bit, trying to make sure that the homeowner has some appreciation when they sell the home, but that it is sold at an affordable price for another family to move in.
Sure. Wow. That is a delicate dance, it seems like, that will need to take place there.
Yeah, it is, and that's why, Dominic, my whole goal in all of this process is to get smarter people in the room than me.
Yeah.
I'm not finding that very difficult, but to get folks in that can help us dial that in. That's why we've got 5 work groups right now that are working in areas like eligibility and stewardship. I haven't even talked about stewardship. That's another beautiful part of the community land trust model, is that there's a stewardship element that comes alongside of that is very different than when you buy a home. When you buy a home and the land underneath it, you get a set of keys, good luck, it's yours. There is a stewardship element that comes alongside of families that buy a community housing trust home, where it's not like you're lording over folks, but you are there to support them and help them be successful in this endeavor, and wanting them to be as successful, and being able to provide and bring wraparound services should they need it, and coming alongside of them, which is the reason, the stewardship element of that is the reason that nationwide the foreclosure rate on community housing trust or community land trust homes is 0.4%. It's an incredibly low number, and it's the stewardship component of that that is coming alongside of families to make that true.
Sure. Yeah, so speaking to community buy-in, where are you in the process of fundraising? I guess what phase would you say you're in this whole process, and where do you need to go from here?
So we are at a very beginning phase right now. Serve Wenatchee has stepped in as a fiscal sponsor for this project, and what that does is it gives the project Common Ground nonprofit status through Serve Wenatchee. During this time, we are applying for nonprofit status, and we'll get those. When that does happen, there will be its own self-sustained nonprofit organization, and so we're at the very front end of this. We need right now, in terms of funding and fundraising, we need capital for the establishment phase where we are. We've had Banner Bank, we've had North Cascades Bank, we've had the City of Wenatchee contribute some funds to be able to pay for a consultant, for instance. We had a consultant come in and is doing some work. We're going to have a report on that on Thursday. What's today? Wednesday, tomorrow. And so, and then there's application, fees for the nonprofit status. There's some legal fees that we're going to have to cover to get that application done. There's some staffing that we're going to need to cover, and so we're looking at somewhere between $80,000 and $100,000 a year for the administrative side of establishment. But we're not at the project phase yet. Once we get to the project phase, then we're going to need additional community investment and capital that's going to be able to come in and acquire the land and do the building, make sure that we've got quality homes that we're providing, to folks. But that's going to be project driven once we get this established and we get some land or some property to be able to advance this, then that will be the project phase. We're not at project phase fundraising yet, with the exception of if there are community members that know of some land that may be available. Because we are a nonprofit status, there is a way to bring that in for future development, even though we don't have a specific project for that yet. We know that that land is a challenge, to come by, but we also believe, similar to what they do and what they've done in Chelan, is that there is land that is available, and as the community has open eyes to know that this is happening, I have every belief that this community responds. Yeah. We know we have a housing crisis. I don't think that that's hidden. I think everybody knows it. They understand it. What this offers is a solution to that problem, and I think we as a community are hungry for some solutions. We're hungry to be able to step in and be a part of the solution. The Housing Trust is not the solution to our housing crisis, but it is a solution. And we need a lot of solutions, but this is one.
Yeah, absolutely. In your press release that you sent out the other day, I recall one of the factoids was there were fewer than 5 homes that were listed for less than $250,000 in February.
In March, that number is 3. There are 3 homes out of 158 active listings in our community right now. 3 of those are $250,000 or less. And I think we can fairly well assume, while I haven't gotten to look at them, the quality of the home that's being sold at $250,000 or less is there's a reason that it's there.
Yeah, it's pretty low quality. Yeah, last question would be, are there any parcels of land that you guys have your eye on yet, or wish list?
When you start, so one of my literary mentors, Richard Rohr, once told me, how you see is what you see. And when you start opening your eyes to see things, I see them all over the place. When I'm driving around, I see pieces of land. I see a house that is sitting on a land that has an additional, third of an acre that runs all the way back and it's vacant, and I see, different pieces of property that are vacant. And I'm starting to go on and take a look at the zoning restrictions, that are there. So I'll find a piece, go on and look at the county records and take a look at what the, zoning restrictions are and what the densities are that that are allowed on those. And so, that is going to be a challenge. But I believe if we as a community have a palette to find a solution for this, that those opportunities are going to continue to come.
So this is really just about letting the public know that what you're trying to do, so that maybe we can get some buy-in and even crowdsource some solutions.
Yeah, I think that's going to be an important part of this is that crowdsource. Then I love the opportunity to receive a donation of land, but I've said for a long time, just in my serving as a director at Serve Wenatchee Valley, I would rather have 1,000 people give $10 than one person give 10,000. Now, I'm not going to reject that 10,000. I don't mean to say that, but what I'm saying is that is what we need to make something like this work, is a crowd source that comes around. And because when each one of us does a little, we can accomplish a lot. And we're just simply providing the logistics for that for that kind of community generosity to take place. Yeah. And it will.
Yeah, many hands makes light work.
That's for sure.
Well, last question as always, is there anything that we didn't cover today that you want the public to know about this issue?
I really, we do have on servewenatchee.org, you can go on there and there's a button there that you can just take a brief snapshot of what Community Land Trust is. I would point out that we are referring to this as the Common Ground Community Housing Trust. You will see around the country that these are referred to as community land trusts. Those two terms are very synonymous, But the reason we are really focusing on community housing trust in this community is because of what you just mentioned, that we have the Chelan Douglas Community Land Trust that's already existing here, and we don't want to confuse those two terms. But the intention is very similar. The Community Land Trust holds in trust land and stewards it for, for ecology purposes, for conservation, for recreation purposes for generations to come. The Housing Trust is very similar. It's just holding in trust land for a different purpose, but they're very similar. And so I think that's an important piece of that as well.
Well, thank you so much for talking with me today. This is such an amazing and needed thing, and especially right on the heels of that report of the median increase going up to 410. Yeah. You just read that and you get dizzy. How can people afford to live in this community? And what kind of a community will it look like after 10 years of pricing everyone out?
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you so much.
Great to be with you, Dominic. Thanks for coming by.
This is an exciting and possibly game-changing solution for our community, but we're still a long way out from making a housing trust like this a reality here. Serve Wenatchee Valley is stepping up big time, and if you are in the building or real estate industries, they could use community members like you to volunteer to bring your expertise to their work groups. If you are able to, they could also use folks to donate funds they'll need for the capital to establish and run this program effectively. And if you have the ability to find it in your heart to donate the stuff they aren't making any more of, they'll need land. And that's not just for development. Thom also wanted to let folks know that already existing homes and properties can be donated as well. In fact, already existing homes will allow them to offer properties to qualified buyers before they are able to complete a housing development. If you want to learn more about this issue, check out the show notes on ncwlife.com and go to the full episodes tab and scroll down to Common Sense with Dominick Bonny. This is episode 28. You can also go right to Serve Wenatchee Valley's website and check out the Common Ground tab right underneath the main header. That link is also in the show notes at the end of this episode's transcript. Join me next week for more Common Sense.
At Earthwise Pet, we take an all-natural approach to wellness and nutrition. Our professional certified groomers were trained by the best in the Pacific Northwest. Our staff here at Earthwise Pet are all certified in pet nutrition. We are here to help you select the perfect food, supplement, and anything else you may need to make sure your pet is living its best and most healthy life. Earthwise Pet, Nutrition Center and Wellness Spa. Online or in the store, we are here for you.
Wow, Wenatchee Valley, spring has sprung and Collins Fashions is totally ready. Come see us at Collins for superb service and selection in downtown Wenatchee.
Hi, Stephen DeVilbus here, Branch Manager of Beneficial and Home Care. We are an equal opportunity employer and we do not discriminate in employment or services. It is our mission to maximize our clients' physical health and sense of mental well-being while remaining in the comfort of their home. We are currently seeking professional caregivers who share our mission to help our clients live safely and comfortably at home. Call Beneficial and Home Care. Schedule your interview today. 509-663-7900.
Getting ready for the boating season is easy with the help of Bombfile Boats and Motors. With marine technology changing fast, the service department stays up to date with the newest developments and factory certifications. They have what it takes to make boating fun and hassle-free for the summer. Then as that garage and driveway fill up in the fall, one call is all it takes to learn about their convenient service and storage packages. Now's the time to call and find out why Washington boaters have been trusting Bombfile Boats and Motors to service, store, and maintain their boats for over 70 years.
Hey everyone, Fletcher and Amy Ellingson here from Live It Up. Join us every week as we answer your questions on health, wealth, and relationships.
We're all about you creating a life that you love, so tune in to Live It Up.